As I do every single time, loading it up on my phone here to make sure that we are live. It looks like we are. But always want to make the check. Plus, I always love this song in the intro. Big ups to MB14 for the intro song as well. And it looks like we are live. Nice and loud crowd today. So, what's going on, everybody? Scott Jackson here, repping on Swiss Beatbox. We are live and direct, episode 56. That number slowly but surely just keeps on going up, and I'm excited to go and have this gentleman on, and I'm looking forward to more people coming on the show. So once again, everybody that's in the chat, thank you very much for jumping on. I can already see people are putting in questions, and people are jumping up. So if you do have any questions today, put them in the chat, and we'll be scrolling through to find some of them. But aside from that, episode 56, Beyond the Beats, right here live on Swiss Beatbox with Mr. Casper Anderson, a.k.a. that one short guy, a.k.a. Kebab, reppin' Cone Gang in this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for KBA.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh man, good to have you on. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I just want to disclose, I'm not short. I'm 6 foot.
Now he is. He's growing up.
Okay, I'm
sure.
short. I'm short.
No, you're taller than me, man. You're
really?
If you're over 6 feet, you're taller than me. So
Fair
I think overall, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with KBA though. And where are you joining us from today? Where are you living right now?
Right now, I'm actually in Denmark. Usually I live in the Netherlands, but currently I'm doing like basically an audio production degree, like a short semester in Denmark to learn more about mixing, mastering, all of those fun things. So I'm joined from a studio at my school.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I was wondering because I saw a picture on your thing where you were sitting in front of a big board and a mixing booth that you were saying that you were in class.
That's in 10 meters that way.
So that's a big room you're in. I like it.
Well, this one's small, but there's like a massive one over there. But I've reserved this one. I've permanently booked it.
It is your home studio now.
Yeah, basically.
That's awesome, man. Well, once again, welcome to the show. This is Beyond the Beats. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we'll be asking questions, going through your career, going through thoughts and just a new world that's happening right now with beatboxing. And yeah, overall, just going to be going through some stuff. But before we start off with any of that, a question I always get to go and start off with is, would you mind jumping into this thing, starting it off correctly? Do you have it in you to give a little showcase right off the bat?
I can do that, yeah, for sure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, right here, live and direct with KBA, episode 56. We're here on Beyond the Beats on Swiss Beatbox. You already know what to do if you're sitting at home. I say the 3, y'all say the 2 and the 1. We about to get loopy with it in 3. Ah. Starting off strong with that. Stranger Things going on.
Yeah, for sure. Do I have
Ladies and
time for
gentlemen.
another? Or
This is the show about you, man. If you want to do another one, I want to hear another one. I'm seeing that
Fair
people
enough.
are wanting another one as well. So let's see
Hey.
it. Let's see it.
So this is my most recent track that I uploaded.
Let's go. Just a reminder for anybody that does come on Beyond the Beats, you come correct like he did just there, smashing his little, let's get out the showcase jumping off the start, man. Two solid tracks back to back. And man, yeah, put me in a good mood. I was already in a good mood. That put me in a better mood. Once again, man, honestly, I've been loving your stuff, been seeing more of your stuff, especially when the online stuff coming up.
Yep.
And I'm excited to go and see where you take it, man, because you're very early on in your looping career, and you're already reached good levels, and you're pushing a scene. So you have a lot to be happy about, and also a lot that you're going to be, I feel, continuously moving forward.
Sure. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. I was watching around. You only have a few interviews out there, so I tried to go and gather some information. One thing that came out and stuck out was this idea that I like. This is what you said when you were talking with Mills there. Beatbox interview number 33. You said the rules that were made for looping was when it started. When 3 minutes felt like, oh damn, I gotta fill out 3 minutes. But now it's like, how the hell am I gonna go and fit an entire piece into 3 minutes? And I love that idea behind it, because a lot of loopers I've talked to and people recently, it's more confining than it is like a drastic thing that you have to fill. And how long do you think would you be comfortable with when you get to be able to perform? What is the length that you feel like you'd be able to go and loop for comfortably and be able to deliver a piece properly to the public?
That's a good question. I think it really depends on the piece. I think this piece that I just showed is my kickback wildcard, and I shortened that down to 3 minutes 30. I think if I were to make like a full release of this, it would probably be around 4 minutes to 4 minutes 30. And I have a track that I'm yet to release, which is one of my favorites, that is around 5 minutes. And sometimes 3 minutes is enough, but it's like you still really have to rush. So it really depends. I think as like a guideline, I think probably around like the 3:30 to 5 minutes is where I'm happy.
True, because I also see, again, there's a lot of technology and the technicality with like having to go and shift so many sounds and put in with all the work there to go and build something correctly. When you're on that 3 minute timeline, it makes it hard to go and get enough of the technicality done. So I guess in the future, what I'm kind of getting at is like, if you were to perform at a festival or, you know, do showcases, you'll have longer time to go and build it up and take your time to go and build stuff. And I'm looking forward to going and hearing more stuff from you, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think especially if you were to do like a full showcase, I think you also get the possibility of like transitioning in between different tracks. I'm thinking, especially with the last one, more of like a drum and bass liquidity feel. You know, if you go listen to like a liquidity or like a drum and bass festival, it's rare that you ever have one track and then it stops and then you hear another track. It always kind of like transitions somehow into the next thing. And I think that could be really interesting with looping. Is, you know, if people are given like a longer showcase, you could just like make like a 20-minute drum and bass rave, for example, you know, and just with a human voice.
And do you find that when you're practicing, not only working on a piece specifically, but just overall practice on the loop station, do you feel yourself, and do you note that yourself, like you'll go for an hour, let's say, of just mixing in between tracks, or do you find that you work on one piece, stop it, and then go to the next one and continuously refine?
I think that my workflow on the loop station is really strange. I think because I really like when I have a track idea, I go down to the details. Like I would sometimes work on a single track for like 3 weeks, just tweaking like the little EQs, the compressors, to make sure everything sounds the way I think it sounds good. But if I'm just making something new, something creative, I'm just jumping all over the place. Like I could be at 174 BPM 1 minute, and then all of a sudden I'm in down tempo chill music, you know? Just kind of going with the flow.
Absolutely. And again, you're in school currently, like you said, learning, mixing, and mastering. And you said that, again, from what I've been able to find out and stuff and seeing you, so 8 or 9, you get a guitar, you start practicing with it, and people, you know, you pair guitar with singing so you can play guitar and sing, and you start working on your voice. And then when you're in high school, you get the option and start going into doing theater and singing along with that, and doing things like Footloose, In the Heights, and The Music Man. And you said The Music Man was one of the parts that really kind of made you start thinking about chord progression, and learning how to go and harmonize with people. Right,
yeah. So The Music Man, for the people who don't know, is a musical where there's like a barbershop quartet. For the people who don't know what a barbershop quartet is, it's basically you have like four dudes who each have like a different voice part, and then they mix it together. And if it's done correctly, that's important, then it sounds nice. It's like really cool. And yeah, for sure, I got like a lot of like technical, like, you know, listening for my own note, and also being like able to sing relative to others. And also like just hearing like lots of strange chords. You know, before that, I knew what a major chord and a minor chord is, and all of a sudden you have to work with like sevenths, diminished, augmented, and your brain just gets fried on the spot.
And is that in school, when learning guitar, when learning how to sing, are you taking not only like music class in school, or were you taking outside tutoring, or do you know music theory?
I know I know music theory to the part where like I know what tones are, I know what chords are, and I can like read basic music theory, but it's not. I'm not like some insane skilled like music theory master nerd. I wish I was because I think it would be super useful, but I have a basic understanding of how it works, and for what I do, I don't think I need any more, but obviously it's still an opportunity to learn more and get more, explore different genres like jazz, for example. Like that would be fun to explore, and for that I would need more music theory.
Absolutely. And another thing that I kind of found in between you finding, before you found beatbox, you had put your toe in the water and were just testing out the waters of production and producing beats. So what kind of made you think about making beats and or production before hearing beatbox? Was there something that kind of like clicked on you where you saw something, you're like, wait a second, I think I could go and replicate that, or I think I could go and make something for myself?
I think especially like when I was producing, which is a long time ago now. I mean, I still produce. It's just I don't release it, if that makes sense. When I was testing it out, I thought, I think I was on my mom's MacBook. This was like way back, when I was like 10 or 11, and I found this fun little app called GarageBand, and I was like, okay, all right, let's have a look at this. What is it? I had no idea what it was, and then I saw that you could like put loops into tracks, and I thought that was pretty cool. So then you could like put things together and you can make songs, and I was like, whoa, what the hell? And yeah, from that point on, I was like, I could compose an entire song by myself. I think that's what really stuck out to me, because before that, all of my musical experience had come from like guitar, and specifically playing like metal or rock, like those two genres. And for that, you're always kind of accustomed to, I'm the guitarist, I need a bassist, I need a drummer, I maybe need a keys player, and then I need a singer, and then you form a band. I think when I found production, I was like, oh damn, I can make this by myself.
And that's also very good for when you go and jump onto a loop station later on, to go and think, I can do this all by myself. I don't even need instruments, and just all come from my mouth.
Yeah, I think that's actually why I started looping, because I don't know, when I saw it, like I think some of the first loop battles I saw was like Thorson and MP14, something like that. And I thought, these guys are just making music on the spot. And they're making music that sounds really sophisticated on the spot. And I think that's kind of what appealed to me, was the fact that I could, in theory, just make a song. I don't need to sit on a computer all day. I can just make sounds, and then all of a sudden you have something.
And your production background as well, and what you're going to school for currently, I assume definitely helps out when you deal with the technical side of looping and learning what every single thing going in. What does this filter do? What does the granular delay do? How does this affect the sounds going in?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think my knowledge of, especially things such as an equalizer, I think everyone knows what an equalizer is, but until you really sit and just like work with it, you don't really realize how complex it is, and how much goes into like producing when you hear an actual track. There's so many different things, and I'm still learning, of course, but now that I've started implementing what I've learned into the loop, I can hear like huge differences in sound quality, and so I'm super grateful for that. I'm super happy that I ended up doing something like that.
And how long do you have still in this course to complete it?
Not actually that long. I have 5 or 4 weeks, something like that.
Okay, and then do you plan on continuing on to another course, or finding something else to go and study?
Well, I'm actually, this is way of a jump. I'm actually hopefully signed on to a business and sociology course, which is I really want to like both have like the business part of music and also like the technological part of music, kind of combine them. But I'm absolutely always ready to learn more about mixing. But I think for now, I really want to focus on producing and releasing my own songs, seeing where beatboxing can go. And if it works out, great. And then maybe I will do more audio production after that, if it goes well.
Well, you'll have yourself both sides of the coin. Then you'll be able to go and make your own music, as well as manage yourself and put yourself in positions to go and take your music and get it to the public.
For sure. Yeah, that's That's the goal.
And again, it just seems like you're a fish in water. You took to the water just like instantaneously with beatboxing, and you said that you'd always kind of known about beatboxing relatively. So a little background too. I know you said your dad jumped from job to job, like his job put him in all these different places around the world. But when did you start seeing beatboxing? And do you have like a memory of, was there something on? And I remember you said like Thorson was on Denmark's Got Talent, but was there something before that you would have seen and kind of had knowledge of beatboxing overall?
I think like the very first time I was really impressed with beatboxing, because I remember I've seen a few beatboxers like before Thorson on Denmark's Got Talent. This was like maybe in 2009, 2008, so I was really young. So I already like always had an idea of that. Then I remember I was having a sleepover with one of my friends. All of a sudden, LM versus Napalm, like the final, comes on. Wait, was it LM versus Napalm? Yes, it was, right? 2015. Yeah. If it's not, I look dumb, but I think it is. And I was like, oh, let's check this out. Let's see what it is. And I'm just sitting there, and then we play, and like LM's just going crazy with all these like spamming just sounds. Well, not spamming, but like that's what I thought in my head. Like he's going so fast, and then Napalm does bass, and I'm like, whoa. And from that point on, I was hooked, and my friend didn't care for it at all, but I was super hooked.
And solo-wise, something that you've also said too, and I just want to know your opinion, like solo beatbox. Do you practice on solo side of stuff? Do you concentrate on that? Is that something that you would think of jumping into for like a national championship or just pursuing in general?
Well, I think it's fun. I think it's fun to solo beatbox, but I also know my level, and it's not particularly high, to say the least. I enjoy practicing like fun random sounds, and of course for loops you got to practice basics, so I do that. But for me, it's really hard to do like all the technicality, the combos. So I don't think right now, at least, it's my main priority. But I still really enjoy listening to solos. So I'll just be like the supporter on the sidelines, cheering everyone on.
Do you practice? Do you practice solo beatboxing? Like sit there for, an hour a day type thing, just practicing? No.
Sometimes, like for example, when I'm in the shower, I'll solo beatbox. When I'm like walking around, I'll like do like a little this and that. And I can do basic stuff, but it's not that good.
Oh, with time you can. I assume you have the skills that you could go and put anything can be done with time. So maybe don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short.
Who knows? But for now, it's not in the priority list.
And the other thing another thing is just the idea that so you see MB14 or you get inspired to go and start beatboxing. And then you see Thorson and MB14, and you start realizing sorrow and start realizing, okay, wait a second, Loop Station's actually musical. I can make full-on music just using this machine. And then you say Inky was another big part of looking at the technical side of stuff and how you can use the technology and expand it into something which you already had from the production side of things, so you had an understanding of it. When did you buy a Loop Station, and when did you start? Because I remember you said within a year or a year and a half approximately, you go into the champs at the Netherlands there, and you take home first place right off the bat.
Yeah. I think I found out about the Loop Station February 2019, and I think I got the Loop Station in February 2019. So I was like hooked very quickly. So that's like 2.5 years ago now, I think. And yeah, immediately I was just practicing every day. It became like very quickly, like almost addictive to just sit there and just press buttons and like, oh my God, there's sound there. That's super cool. So for sure, like really quickly, I just practiced so much. Not even because I was thinking of tournaments or anything. That was never really an idea. That was like, maybe I'll do it in like a couple of years and figure it out. But then people would tell me like, oh, you may as well do it. Who knows? And then I did it.
And then you won.
And then I won. Which is
man.
pretty surprising. But,
and before I ask you about that experience too, this is a question I was going to ask anyways, but someone named Peach. Yep. For when people start looping, what are tips for beginner loopers that you would say, again, with your ability that you just really honed in on quickly? What's some advice and tips you can give to people out there that are starting looping that want to go and achieve a certain level and rapidly increase their skills?
That's a good question. I mean, I can tell you about my experiences. I obviously already kind of knew how to, well, I did know how to sing. But I think for me, what was really difficult in the beginning was like timing. I didn't realize, how sharp and how like tight you need to be when you're doing your drums and everything. And it becomes very apparent on the loop station when you have a metronome in your ears, like you start to realize like this is difficult. So I would definitely say one of the first things, even before you get the loop station, practice beatboxing to a metronome, maybe, I would suggest. Because if you already get that like idea of this is where the beats are, this is where the time intervals are, I think you will start off being a lot cleaner off the bat. Another thing I would say is that I think I would have gotten a lot better, a lot faster if I practiced my basics more. And I think this is something that everyone says, whether you're a solo beatboxer or a looper. But there's a reason why everyone says it. It's because if your basics are good, then you can, then even if nothing else sounds nice, you can always groove along. If there's just like, let's say you make a nice house beat, the drums sound clean, you can groove. In terms of like more like getting into the musical stuff, I would say I got a lot of what I did just by experimenting, just by like trying different things. Like, oh, what's this ring mod? Oh, that doesn't sound good. I'm not going to use that. Found delay. Oh, if you tune that down, you get like a note, granular delay, and then you start to kind of figure things out. Obviously, watch tutorials. They can definitely help, but don't let tutorials guide your learn, is what I would say. Try and find things on your own. Try and be creative, and try and think critically, because that's when you'll learn and you'll not just be receiving information.
Very well said. Very well said. And when do you think, because again, you buy your own RC505 with money you've made, you start practicing with it, you start training with it, and when did you start thinking, like, because I would assume that when you started, you'd be trying to replicate what other people did a little bit to go and get somewhat of the basics down and trying to go and be like, okay, that's how they made that sound. But when did you start thinking to yourself, it's time for me to go and make my own pieces, time for me to go and try to make something original, right? Like that's yours.
Think really early on, actually. I think maybe even a weekend. I'm not saying it was good. Don't get me wrong. But I think the first thing I wanted to do, because one of my favorite songs at the time was Believer by Imagine Dragons, and MP14 had done a cover of that.
Yep.
So I was looking at MP14, this is how it does it. All right. And then I was like replicating that. And once I kind of figured out how to do like a Walmart version of it, then I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm just gonna try and throw some different harmonies in. Maybe I'll do some covers where I do the composition, and then eventually I started like doing more of like my own originals. So I think really early on, I started doing my own stuff, and I think that also helped me because that means that I didn't only practice RC505. That also meant that I practiced composing.
Yes, and the first videos that I can see are you jumping on, putting out videos and on your own channel, and again you go to the Dutch Championship, and even though you represent and identify as a person from Denmark, that's where your parents born and raised, so that's your what you will have a passport from. But when do you how do you hear about the competition in the Netherlands? Who do you have to go and hit up, and what was your experience like to go and walk in and see guys like Beard and Ibarra and that elk?
So I already spoken to a few of the Dutch guys because very early on I got into the online scene, like Discord. What was it called at the time? I think it was Beatbox Talk, which is now Beatbox Community, but at the time it was Beatbox Talk.
Shouts to Decoy.
Yeah, it was the Decoy. What was his? Then I think I met a few people, and then I met this guy called Voxel. And Voxel, of course, is also a Dutch loop station champ. And I was speaking to him a bit, and then all of a sudden I'm like, by the way, I live in the Netherlands. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And then he says, oh, then you should come compete. And I say, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then he tells me, like, you got to message Hurricane, just make sure that even though you're Danish, you're still allowed to compete. So I do, and Hurricane's like, yeah, that's chill. And then I submit my wild card, and then I come, and then all of a sudden, we're under this bridge. This is where Dutch Champs was. It was like under like a bridge by a canal, like the most typical Dutch scenery you could imagine. Yeah, I'm just like chilling around. I'm one of the first people there. Like I come the day before. I check into like a hotel because I was like, I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna like practice my vocals. I'm gonna be in the best mentality. I'm not gonna mess up. Like that was basically my thought process. I meet a few people, and then all of a sudden, I just walk up and say, "Oh yeah, Voxel, BR, Ibarra, Rolana, like all the people are there," and I'm just there like, "Oh," and he starts speaking Dutch to me, and my Dutch isn't that good, so Voxel obviously quickly finds out, oh, it's KBA, and then I don't speak to BR yet. He doesn't know who I am at this time, and neither does Ibarra. I think it's just Voxel I know, and a guy called Duzzy, who hosts like the 8v8. Here on Swiss Beatbox, and we talk a bit, and then I just watch, and I'm like super excited because it's my first ever Beatbox event, so I'm just super hyped. So like every time someone does like a lip roll or anything, I'm just like, whoa, that's so cool because it's the first time I hear it in real life. And then yeah, so it was really fun, a really great experience. I was definitely shy, but I also quickly got out of that shyness and was just, happy to be there.
And that's your first time on stage performing is at the Loop Station Championship, which you go ahead and take home as a W and a victory.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And again, from there you have a lot of success because that's 2019, and approximately a year after you got your Loop Station, that's when you win the championship. Approximately, you said. And moving forward, you've done Grand Beatbox Battle online. You got to get into the eliminations. You've done Baltic Coast Beatbox. Big shout out to Baltic Coast as well, where you ended up beating 3 people and taking home the title again 2020 for the online battle that they have. Then you go on and you do the online World Champs, and you end up going against Dice. And as we can see,
we don't talk about that.
Well, that's I mean, in passing, just to go and walk through it. But then you continue on in 2020 as well. You get your first within less than 2 years. You get your first shout out on SBX, a solo shout out for winning Baltic Champs and getting your name out there. So how was it for you to go and get your first shout out on SBX and have that kind of ramp up success of winning your first battle, winning another huge battle and the Baltic Coast Championships, and then getting into SBX for a shout out?
Yeah, I think especially around that time, with COVID happening, I didn't have, I think as many people, I didn't really, if it wasn't for beatboxing, I wouldn't have had much happening. So I was like really working day and night. And I think getting the Swiss shout out, and, getting to speak to Paboni, like, yo, like, is this cool that I upload this? And he's like, yeah, man, it's super chill. I think that was like a really like big representative of like success in a way of like, I achieved something. And, all this hard work that I put into on the Loop Station, like actually ended up paying off. So I think in that regard, I was really happy with getting a Swiss shout out. Even though in hindsight, it's not like my favorite work I've ever done. I can still listen to it, still enjoy it, and just the fact that I'm there, and I can say I'm on Swiss. I think that is super cool.
Man, it's always, from everybody that I've talked to, pretty much it's a nice one to go and get and to get that recognition that you're in that echelon of the top people to go and get on the channel, and also for again, as Swiss Beatbox grows and grows and grows, it's just more people get to see your work and get exposed to what you do, and maybe pick up some more fans. You continue on going, and obviously I saw it too. You won the Crook Beatbox battle with the tag team partner PSN. So take home another W. Oh, PSN's nasty. Shout out to Brazil as well. Bomb. And you were in also Mad Meal battle. Shout out to the Mad Twins. You beat Dr. Nape in the top 8. So definitely, again, you keep on doing well and having success. Now, what are things that you're looking forward to getting into? Because I remember one video you put out was your goals and things you'd like to be a part of for 2021, whether it's you're releasing more songs, release an EP, which we'll talk about. I want to go and ask, going through your old routines and redoing them, and just video content on your channel. But one thing you said is getting part of 2 large-scale events, whether they're live or not. So again, we all know what happened for the wild card this year. You were off by 1 spot, which a lot of people say is debatable. And again, who's to say who? In that's why you have judges, right?
Right.
But you never know what's going to happen on day of, and hopefully we'll see you. Will we see you at Grand Beatbox Battle? Are you going to try to attend?
Yeah, no, I already had my ticket beforehand, so I was ready. And also, we're doing the thing where the runner-ups get a showcase at the event. So, I mean, even though I'm not competing, I still count it as I'm partaking in a big event.
Absolutely.
So, I'm still gonna prepare like a crazy set for that.
And you never know. And you never know what happens. I wish the best for everybody. Hope everyone stays healthy and safe and all these things. But you never know. If someone drops out, your spot is right there.
But if one person could be not healthy and not safe, then just
yes.
one.
Yeah, no malicious intent. Let's just hope that
Absolutely.
But you never know what happens in this world.
Yeah,
so I know there's usually a dropout or 2 anyways. So
I mean, there's the kickback, which I made a wild card for, and obviously we'll see again. Crazy competition, just like the last GBB wildcards. If I get to partake in that, that would be incredible. What other events? The thing is, I feel like people are kind of like not holding the big events yet because they're still kind of wary of the COVID situation. They don't want to arrange any venues for things that are you're not really certain yet, even with the vaccines and hopefully COVID eventually soon coming to an end. But also there's the Online World Champs, which I could definitely see myself competing again in, especially if I'm not in kickback. I think they would overlap if I get into kickback, and then I wouldn't do it. But obviously I got top 8 last time. Maybe I could win it this time. That would be fun. If not, Danish champs. I'm still not the champion of my actual own country. So if that gets hosted, for sure I'll go to that. And yeah, just in general, I think I'll go to any big live event that I can go to, just because I love live performing, and I haven't gone to do much of it recently. Obviously,
yes. We all have had that unfortunate thing happen, and hopefully the world will get back into some normalcy and be able to see you perform more. And you got a question too. I'll be asking for questions from the audience later, but there's a question that I want to shout out. Just Baltic Coast Beatbox Battle asks, what was your favorite battle in the Baltic Coast Beatbox Battle 2020, and who do you think has the biggest potential in the region currently?
Okay. Okay. So my favorite battle, I don't think I can. I mean, the final was really fun, also because I'm friends with Kuxon, who I was facing there. So that was a lot of fun, and he showed some crazy skills. There's a lot of people with potential in that region, and it's a relatively big region as well. So obviously, I guess Germany's a part of the Baltic Coast region, and they have so many talented loopers.
Yep.
And then there's Russia, who has a few. I think one person that I think is good to watch out for is Garmon from Russia. He's doing some really crazy stuff. It's really unique. Another person, I would say, from 2 people from Germany, I'd say. Actually, 3 people from Germany. There's a guy called Saijo, who has crazy vocals. I think he can go far. There's a guy called Antrix, who has like really nice technicality, makes some really like slick beats. There's a guy called Slether, who is one of my good friends, and he really drops some bangers. So yeah, I'd say those 3 in Garmon. I'm probably forgetting someone. Oh, from my own country, Cryptic, for sure. He's improving fast. So he can go far as well.
Oh man, there's again, I'm finding out more and more, and you're in the online scene quite heavily. Right. And I'm finding out this year, and I've said this so many times on this show, but like it's wild to me to go and hear how many new people are out there, and people that have not had the opportunity to come to a live event, but they have such a big amount of skill, and they can actually go and perform well. When I see them online, I'm like, whoa, who is this person? Then you delve deeper, and I feel like there was an indicator early on with some of the online championships for what I think the future will be. Seeing stuff in the online world champs, you see those same people now moving forward who are going to be on the Grand Beatbox battle stage, yourself included. So it's amazing to go and see the online starting to meld over into the actual live scene as well. So I'm excited to go and see what people bring. And I see also Rushi's in the chat. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, a lot of people here. And Timmy asked if he still live in Holland, but the answer is currently he's in Denmark studying. So
currently I'm in Denmark, but who knows? And obviously Denmark and the Netherlands are not that far away. Normally, it's an easy travel. Not at the moment, but normally it is. So I'd probably be in the Netherlands quite often because I mean I'm still really chilling with the Dutch beatbox community. So I definitely still come a lot to the Netherlands.
Absolutely. Would you ever compete again? Do you see yourself competing? Obviously, when there's a Danish champs coming up, that would be something that you'd be interested in. But would you go back and try to defend and or beatbox and battle yet again in the Netherlands?
I feel like it would be a bit mean to try and take 2 national titles. I mean, if they let me, maybe. But I think I will let someone who's actually Dutch take it. And then I will hopefully take the Danish champs. But again, there's great people there as well, so it's absolutely not a given.
That's fair enough statement. Never knowing what's going to happen, who's coming out of the woodwork in any battle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Question as well too. Let's talk about the kickback, man, because you just put out your piece, Gone. Can you kind of run through just thus far? Who have you seen in the kickback battle of the wild cards? I just watched a good handful of them, and some stick out to me. But who are people that you see that are put out a wild card for the kickback that you think that you've seen so far that are really on the high level that you think would be able to get in your opinion?
I mean, I was thinking about this before coming here today. I see at least 15 wild cards that I think deserve a spot, just in terms of music quality. Obviously, there can only be 8. One person I think is getting in, and I think a lot of people are also expecting to get in, is Sin from Germany. Yeah. Very high quality looper.
What was his piece? Oceans or something?
Ocean, yeah.
Yeah, that piece was dope.
Like a chill house or like a trance, something like that. Yeah. Like almost something that like I kind of do with like the atmospheric stuff. But obviously it's his own style. It just kind of reminded me of like, oh, you know, that sounds like something I could imagine myself trying to make. So him. Other people, I think, you know, my boy PSN, just dropping a banger. Some of the guys in Cone Gang, you know, really making some good ones. I was actually speaking to people of the Cone Gang. We could, in theory, have a top 8 in kickback. This is very theoretical, of course. That is all Cone Gang, which is like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I could see too. There's, you know, I just watched Frosties and Delos, and I'm like, oh, this is super, super dope. I'm looking forward to going and seeing what the judges, again, hard decisions, tough decisions, but I can't wait to go and see who makes it into that kickback battle. It's going to be super dope.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm a bit nervous, though, not going to lie. But who knows?
Well, I think you stand a good chance from what I've seen so far, and I'd love to go and see you get the opportunity to go and show your stuff.
For sure.
And in that battle format as well, of having time to go back and forth, you know, where you get their answer, or you put out the thing and you have 24 hours to respond. Let's say, how many, in your opinion, how reasonable is it for you to think of doing flips on a loop station and giving a chance to go in?
I definitely will be doing a lot of counters. I think this battle format suits me. I was thinking about this with the solo edition. Like when that started coming out, I was thinking, if they give me the opportunity to go into this event, I will take it pretty seriously. Because I really think this format suits me in terms of I get to be creative with the way I counter people. Obviously you can it's also, you know, you can make like slight jokes and stuff. You know, I remember the Delo Rhythmine battle with the whole looper and everything, like kind of becoming like a little gimmick. And I think, you know, doing that kind of thing on the loop station, you know, I mean, obviously solo's great, but there's a lot more options on the loop station. I imagine the amount of fun gimmicks you could pull off on that, I think there's a lot of things there that you could do. I'm
And-
already planning a little bit.
Man's sitting there scheming, getting ready for the battle. And also another thing too, being part of Cone Gang, and I know from just seeing your stuff and what people in passing, you're clearly in different friends groups and different loopers turn to you and ask your opinion. You can ask their opinion and stuff and have that back and forth. So how important is it for you when you put out a piece, like to run it by people and get feedback and build on it? And who are some people, like, again, don't have to say every single person, but are there a few people that you always turn to with a piece to go and get opinions on?
Yeah, so I think getting feedback is a crucial part of the creative process, because as a person, you have, I think everyone has it, you have all these amazing ideas in your head, and that's great, but you also need someone that tells you this part of the idea works, this part of the idea unfortunately doesn't work. And sometimes it sucks to hear those things, but it's really important to get that information, because if not, then you'll kind of always be in your own bubble. And I think taking criticism is one of the most important parts of growth. I mean, I think that's surprising too, not surprising to anyone.
Constructive criticism is definitely a necessary part of growth, and some people that just put out ridiculous stuff on the internet, that kind of be sidelined or taken as feed into emotion to go and prove wrong and whatnot. So yes, constructive criticism, though, I do agree, is definitely having
for sure.
its benefit.
Yeah. I think if you ever ask someone for feedback, then they will usually be constructive. In terms of the people that I go to, a lot to Frosty. Him and I, we talk a lot about, also we have not the same style, but we kind of both have like the technological process behind all of our beats. So him I talk a lot to. Also recently a lot to Biscuit, because he's really strong with his musical ideas and with details, and like him going through my details like makes me like is really good. That's not very deep, but it's just like the way he criticizes and goes through those things with the details is really strong.
Yeah, it's good to go and have somebody that can listen to it who's also a practitioner and can go and be like, well, I might do it this way, and give you ideas, and maybe also just in general, as you said, kind of give you some feedback, whether you want to hear it or you should hear it. It's definitely better to have friends that are direct with you and tell you what you need to hear comparatively to what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And big shout outs as well. Tim A just said he misses you, and he said the Dutch beatbox community misses you. So big ups to Tim A, man.
I'm gonna be back. Next Dutch Champs, I probably won't be competing, but I will be there.
All right. I like to hear that. Another thing that I want to go and ask you about is, again, there's an EP that you've been talking about and whispers of. Can you go and maybe break down when you're thinking of putting it out, how many tracks there'll be on it, and what you want to achieve with this EP?
Right. So I actually just had a meeting with my manager, and we've spoken about this. So we've nailed all of this down. So like everything now, I mean, obviously we still get to release promotion and stuff, but what I can say is that there's going to be around 15 minutes of music around there. And basically the hope for this EP is to show a lot of different stuff, but all things that are kind of part of me. Really let it be true to myself, and also just kind of like to show my process and where I came from. So yeah, it's gonna be released around probably in a month, I'd say, somewhere around there. It's gonna be a lot of work. There's gonna be some tough months ahead. Well, tough month ahead, but they're all tracks that most people have heard from me, or at least if you go to my YouTube channel. But they're gonna be in producer quality, mixed, mastered, fully filled with details. It's gonna be good.
Let's go. I'm looking forward to hearing that. Sure. Before I get into another couple sections of the show, I just want to ask you as well, if you could go and show us and run through one thing that you mentioned, that is the idea that if you go into loop station battles now, you would like to be able to stick to the idea of having a second device, because a lot of your music is now working with a second device. and this second device that you have, could you kind of go and run through your setup and people to go and have an idea of what you're using and why you choose to use it as your second device on with the RC505? Because people have been asking that as well.
Okay, yeah. So my device is the Boss SY1000. I am the first user of this device. There's a few people getting it now, which is pretty cool. So what I have is basically, well, I'll just run through the entire setup. I have a DPA 2028 that I won from Baltic Coast. A very good microphone. Highly recommend it. Then I've got like a phantom power chilling back here, which you need if you're going to connect a DPA to most devices, because condenser microphones need phantom power, and you don't usually have that on like second devices because they're set to jack inputs, and jack inputs don't give phantom power. So get yourself one of those if you're going to get yourself a second device with a DPA. And the device I use because it's pretty good, surprisingly. Basically, it has like a lot of modulations with synth, and I'm a big, huge fan of electronic music. So for me, it was kind of natural to find the device that I felt could take my electronic music the furthest. So in terms of like what it does, I mean, it makes me into a synth. I mean, I can show you like a really basic form. Here's like a saw wave bass. You know, like just the regular sound. But if you go through enough modulations, you can get some pretty funky stuff. I'll find one real quick. Sounds interesting. For example, you know, you can pull off a lot of crazy stuff. And again, like I have a few different presets, like just as an example as well. Something like this, maybe. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. However, what you need to know is if you're getting this device, none of the presets are actually usable with the microphone itself. So everything that I'm doing right here are sounds created by me. You can't just like click a button and then does all the work for you. You need to have a lot of knowledge on how to produce. And if you do, then this device is great. And if you don't, then you can maybe learn it.
Or find another device that would suit your needs as well.
For sure.
That's super dope, man. I like the way that, again, it's just from that small little bit for us to see. It's interesting that works behind it. So
right.
And also another question I had that's kind of maybe we'll answer for a longer answer from you, but being that you're on the come up, being that you've been in beatbox battles before in the Loop Station division, what are things that you would like to see for future battles? What are things that you would like to see for future judging criterias? And what do you want to go and see essentially, and thoughts on the future of looping?
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna break that question down because there's a lot to grab at there.
Yes.
So in terms of future Loop Station battles, I think we're at the point, and I know a lot of people have mentioned this, there's the huge second device versus no device debate going on. And obviously, I'm a big believer in this machine. I think it's really I need it now, like to make the music that I wish to make. But I also know and understand people that just want to stay with one device. So I think in order to kind of accustom for everyone, I think at this point, at least in like the highest levels, we maybe need to put two categories of no device and extra device. Then the question becomes, do we add more than just one device? Do we go full beardy man, you know? And I honestly don't have an answer to that, because for me, it's kind of like, it's a competition. So there should still kind of be some sort of limitations. Like there's no competition in the world that doesn't have any form of limitation. So for me, I don't think I would say go crazy with devices, because I think that should just be left for like musicianship showcases and those kind of things. But again, that's kind of where I see the future of the loop battling is two categories. terms of judging criteria, I think that we need to kind of rethink the musicality technicality, because I personally have a hard time defining what is musical and what's technical. In my mind, I've kind of set it down to musicality is how close you get for it to sounding like a real track, and technicality for me is difficult because maybe you're not doing anything that's complex, but maybe you're not trying to do anything that's complex. So I feel like the judging categories, I don't know how I feel about like those. What I do think could be really cool though is maybe something like a sound design category of just, you know, do your sounds sound clean. That's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, I was about to say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Something like that, I think, would be a really good category, because maybe that should kind of replace technicality is kind of my thinking, because that's maybe closer to what we mean by technicality. I don't know. And yeah, mix, I think, should be another category. You know, how balanced your sounds are. Is your kick too loud for the rest of your track? Is your bass line too loud? Is there way too much lows? Way too much highs? Is your vocal standing out? Things like that. Those are some of the categories I'd like to see, because I think at this point in time we are basically entering an era where Loop Station is, I don't even know if I would call it basic, but basic production. So therefore we should kind of treat it as, and categorize it and judge it like it's production. And I think that the categories that we've set now work for solo beatbox maybe a bit more than they work for Loop Station. Because solo beatboxing is still, for me, I mean, that is beatboxing. But I don't know if I think that the categories that we have are translating over that well. That's for me. Again, you know, with a kickback battle, I was super happy to see that they exactly outlined what they meant by musicality, technicality, and originality and showmanship. So I think maybe that is like already kind of fixed. But I think we need to treat it more like a production contest, would be my opinion.
No, it's definitely, I've heard similar sentiments from other people as well, and that's definitely something that, again, as these things progress, it'll progress with Swiss Beatbox and making the rules and really going through discussions with people like yourself and people that are at the front line of it, of redefining it and moving forward to go and making sure that it's adhering to the scene and making sure that everyone has their voice put in, so it's not, you know, one-sided for a certain brand, quote unquote, of loopers to win, and or a certain style is going to be looked more positively upon, you know. So
right,
good points though, good points. I want to get into another section of the show we call
Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire, all right?
Okay, got it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a couple questions in a sequence, and I want you to go and answer these questions as quickly as you can without giving too much thought on it. So the first thing that pops to your head, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we're here live and direct with KBA, episode 56, Beyond the Beats, and we're about to go and get into
Rapid Fire.
Question number 1. Who is your current favorite solo beatboxer?
Dilo.
Current favorite tag team?
Oh, you're already putting on middle school.
Current favorite Loop Station artist?
No, joking. Inky.
Current favorite crew?
Very one.
Current favorite beatbox sound?
Nothing beats just like the good old sub bass lip roll.
Current favorite Loop Station effects?
This is boring, but EQ. EQ is important.
What is your favorite football team?
Oh, Arsenal FC.
What position did you play growing up?
Oh, left back and left winger.
In the game FIFA, what is the best card you'd ever pull?
Oh, I had a team of the season Neymar one year. Pack pulled. I was really stoked.
What is your favorite video game to play with the Cone Gang?
Among Us, when we used to play that. That was fun.
What is the best Danish food?
Ooh. Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. Oh, we have this thing. Well, basically, it's like fried fish, but it's like fresh out of the ocean from where I come from in my hometown. It's called fiskefilet. It's basically like a fillet of fish. It's so good.
And last but not least, who do you think is going to win the kickback battle 2021 aside from you, RC505 edition?
I gotta be confident, but if not me, then I mean the one person I'm really confident is getting in is Sin, so therefore I would have to answer him.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Rapid fire.
rapid fire coming at you right there, live and direct. We also have next part is going to be questions from
my friend Papuni.
Has a few questions for you as well.
My friend Papuni
wants to know a few things, and this is the time right now. I'm going to ask the chat. Make sure you go and put all your best questions in that you want to go and have asked to Mr. KBA, so we can go and get into those right after. Questions from
my friend Papuni.
His first question, he wants to know, and we kind of touched on this, but how did it feel for you being from Denmark and winning another country's national championship in looping? So how did that feel for you personally?
I felt a bit guilty, like strangely enough, because like obviously I was stoked. Like don't get me wrong, I was really happy. But then I remember specifically, Footbox and BR came up to me and spoke after, and then like, oh man, you're so sick. We can't wait for you to train you for the Dutch national team. Well, Footbox is obviously Belgian, but especially BR and I think also Ibarra was speaking to me, and I had to inform them of the unfortunate news that I was in fact not going to be on the Dutch national team. Well, I will still represent them in the next upcoming Worlds, but like I am Danish, and I don't speak Dutch, so they're a bit,
Fair enough. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
He wants to know that now that you are back in Denmark, what are your plans with the Danish scene in general? Are you going to hopefully either enter into competitions, whether it be solo, loop, or tag, or crew, or is there other things you'd like to do in the Danish scene?
Ooh, I mean, obviously, I would like to have the Danish national championship under my belt for loop station. Other than that, I don't really have many plans in what I want to do in Denmark. I'd love to just meet up with the guys, and just jam, because I haven't been able to do that much. Just have like casual beatbox meetings. So I think those two things are super, probably just like my main two things. Just have fun with beatboxing. Chill.
Good call. Another question from
my friend Papuni.
What's an artist in the beatbox scene you'd like to do a collaboration with?
Ooh, I mean, again, Inky for me would be dope, because I think kind of our styles are matching a bit, and obviously he's one of my big inspirations. So, definitely if I ever got to do a collab with him, that would be fun. And also Thorson, because two Danish loopers.
Let's go. Let's go. Another question from
my friend Papuni. My friend Papuni
has some more questions for you. All right. He has a question of let me see. Okay, so what are you hoping to achieve through studying, through your studying right now, your studies? What is something you kind of touched on this already, and I already asked you, but his question again is very direct of with studying sound, why is it important for you to do this for your beatbox career, and what would you like to achieve with it?
I mean, first of all, improving the sound of your tracks, I think, is crucial. I think a lot of loopers would benefit from just taking a course and just really nailing down what is EQ, what is compression, what do they do, how do I make them work. So that's why I do that. But also, it's kind of given me the opportunity to learn more about just like microphones, how do they work, live sound, like if you're actually behind the mixer for a live event. I've gone to learn a bit about that. And also, if you're ever going to be producing your beatboxing tracks for like a crowd that maybe isn't beatboxing, you maybe need to do it in like a DAW and like really make it sound like good for non-beatboxing ears. And that's also something that you can really learn from taking a class such as this, because there's many times where I've shown, you know, my fellow peers, like, yo, this is what I do. Like, how does this sound to you guys? And they're like, yeah, this is cool. I would change this. Or like, why does this happen? And then I kind of get to get an outside perspective from non-beatboxers on how they feel about my stuff.
Very well said. A last thing that he says too, this is just not a question, more of a note from
My friend Papuni.
My friend Papuni
wants you to know he thinks you're a very good artist. He wishes you the best, and he looks forward to meeting you. He says that you have great energy, and it would be nice to see how you'd be able to be on stage. He likes to see how ambitious you are, and most importantly, much love and big ups to you.
My friend Papuni.
Wanted you to know that.
Thank you so much, Paponi. Much love right back.
Absolutely. Now we get to a section right here because people have been watching. Coming in hot there. Questions from our crowd that are watching right here, and people stick around. I'm assuming that we have some good questions right here. Let me see here. So G3 RTI3 says, so let me see. Grady 3? Anyways, Garrity. Okay, well let's see. The question they have is, so you edit the effect beforehand on PC to make it usable on the device coming through your secondary device?
Nope. Everything is happening on the device. Like, I can literally do it right now just to show. So here's me. Here's me with a synth. So yeah, I'm doing it on the device.
So on the device itself, there's no need to go and insert effects and program it in from a computer. It's right there live on your...
Yeah, you can do it on this. There is also an application for this device. I don't like the application. I think it's a bit buggy. And I think I like to mess with buttons. I like hardware. That's also why I think I became a looper. So for me, it's more fun to play with it here.
Okay. Question from the audience. I can answer this one. Ting Wong wants to ask, what does KBA stand for? And from my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong or not, it's your initials, because you have... Yeah. It's your initials, and we're going to go and not say what the B stands for. Keep that a mystery.
Yeah. That's what I do. Casper Anderson.
Another question from our audience.
B can be for Beatbox.
Hey, let's go. Another question from our audience. They want to know, what is your favorite sport to play and favorite sport to watch?
Favorite sport to play is football, and favorite sport to watch is football. I don't play much football anymore, but it's still really fun. I think most of the time now I spend a lot of time in like working out, just like normal fitness. So I guess that's the sport, but I don't know if it's a sport more than just training.
That's a sport. It's a sport.
Yeah, I guess it's a sport.
Another question from our audience, Dexter Beatbox TV, who is a YouTube member as well, big ups to you, has a question asking, and I think I've seen this on your Instagram, but KBA, are you planning on starting a workshop?
Ooh, this is actually there's actually multiple layers to this question, because I already have loop station lessons. So if you want to learn a bit one-on-one, you can just go to my Instagram, and there's details there. And yes, there are workshops coming up. I am doing this with a group of people, and I don't know how much I can disclose right now, but just stay tuned, because there is loop station workshops and things in the making. I don't know how much I can say though, so that's where I'll leave.
Just tell us all. No, just kidding. All right. Another question. So make sure that you guys, if you do want any lessons, I know that you can hit them up on Instagram, DM them, get yourself some lessons, and really figure out how to go and loop. It's definitely something I would advise to do. And there's possibility of something in the works. We're going to go and make sure that you got to follow him to go and make sure that you follow up.
There's something there for sure.
Another question from our audience, actually, a question from Hideful. He wants to know, the man who's running the stream. Big ups to Olea as well. He wants to know, what is your favorite international cuisine if it's not from your home country? What's your favorite international cuisine? Take that as you will.
Absolutely in love with Japanese cuisine. Fun fact, I was actually born in Japan. So my parents have always introduced me like a lot to Japanese culture and food and stuff like that. And also I've been back to visit, and I'm in love with everything in the Japanese culture. So for sure that.
Absolutely. And actually, I knew that about you because you mentioned in another interview, but I was going to actually wait until you brought it up. This is good timing. So let me ask you this. Does that technically mean that you could go into the Japanese beatbox battle for Loop Station, being that you were born there?
I don't know, actually. That's a really... I'll have to ask Rusi about that.
Because if you were to do, and let's just say theoretically you won in the Japanese championship and you won in your home country of Denmark, you'd have 3 national championships and be the first person, I do believe, to have 3 different countries' national championship underneath.
Ooh, now you're making this tempting. I feel like I got to beat a record now.
Hey, someone's got to set records. Someone has to be out there doing those things.
That is true. I don't think they'll be happy with me, but I can ask.
We'll see what happens. Another question that's coming in from our beautiful audience. Another question that came in is, let me see here. This is just a general statement of, do you like water? Ish. That is just.
I do like water.
Ish. Mate is in there. Sick. Mate wants to know. He wants to know if KBA likes Logan Paul or KSI more.
Neither. No, I used to watch a bit of KSI, because I think the Sidemen and all that. I've never watched Logan Paul. I don't really care much about it, if I'm being honest.
Hey, that's totally fair. I barely know about this either. I just know that one gentleman's got himself a fight with Mayweather, which I don't understand how that works out.
True. Actually, that's kind of cool. I might watch that, actually. That might be fun.
Yeah, and his brother also had a few boxing matches, but we'll see how happen. Okay, then to follow up with that, a question from Ilya. He wants to know who is going to win the next boxing fight, about if it's going to be between Logan Paul and KSI, if you just had to choose one.
I heard that KSI won the last one, so just by noticing a pattern of one, so I'd have to say KSI, just because if he won the first one, maybe he'd win the second one. That's what I'll go with.
Fair enough. And I'll go with one last question that I'm reading right here from our audience. Ned Flandy wants to know if KBA is scared of moths.
This is an inside joke, and I'm not scared of moths. No.
Okay, good to know. Actually, we'll go with one last one that just came in as well. Let's go with Scorching Flame wants to know if you were to not be taking beatboxing seriously, and that's not what you want to pursue. I'm kind of reading into this, but what's something else that you would see yourself doing if it wasn't for being in music and or beatboxing?
I would probably be in economics, actually, because before I started taking beatboxing really seriously, I was in a university for economics, and then COVID started, and everything kind of went online, and then I figured, you know what, I don't care that much about economics compared to music, and online learning wasn't really for me. But I think if I wasn't for music, I probably would have still been doing economics.
Fair enough. And that's also a very interesting thing to get into. Those are questions from our audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. Before we jump out, I wanted to go and ask, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you'd like to discuss? Anything that you want to jump on? I'll go and leave room at the end to go and promo your stuff and also tell people where they can find. But is there something you want to talk about that we haven't touched on?
I think we have pretty cohesively covered everything.
That's what we try to do right here.
Yeah.
And one last question I do want to ask, though, is do you have something you could show us? Do you have one more piece that you could show us to end off the stream on the right note? Is there anything that you can take a second and load up and go and do what you need to do? And as he's doing that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, make sure that you go onto his YouTube page. Make sure that you go and check out the new videos that he has. His kickback battle is also out currently for his wild card. Go check that out. Make sure that you go and check him out on Instagram. If you want to go and get yourself some lessons, hit him up on the DM, and make sure that you stay tuned because soon, possibly in a month or around that time, an EP is coming. So KBA, you already know what to do. I sit out here. Y'all at home say the 2 and the 1. Wait a second. I say the 3. Y'all say the 2 and the 1. KBA, Beyond the Beats. Let's go. Episode 56 in 3.
you very much.
Once again, smashing it out. Love your style, man. Can't wait to go and see you. New music that you're putting out. Can't wait to see more videos coming out. Can't wait to go and hear what it is that you have planned with workshops, your EP. See you on stage at Grand Beatbox Battle. And good luck in the kickback as well, brother. I really do wish you the best of luck for that. Aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, I just saw two things. One thing, Mate, he said, do I want a Cone Gang t-shirt? And 100% I do. If you guys would have me as an honorary member, I'd love to jump in there.
We can hand out Cone Gang t-shirts at GBB.
Jeez. And also, I want to go and big shout out to everybody that's been watching. Thank you very much, everybody that's been jumped on. Share this round, put some comments in, let us know what you thought. Hit him up, though. I keep on saying this every time, whoever I have on, but make sure that you go support this man. Go check out his Instagram. Go check out his YouTube channel. Make sure that if you want to learn from him and get some tips and pointers and stuff, go and give him a DM, and he'll be doing lessons as well online. More music coming, a lot of good stuff, and absolutely been a pleasure to talk to you today, my friend.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
No problem. Well, that being said, this has been episode 56, Beyond the Beats. We've been here with KBA. Once again, man, excited to go and see all the new stuff that you have coming out. Cone Gang, Cone Gang, Cone Gang, let's get it.
And also, big shout out to Clip.
Clip?
Loop Station Surfer.
Okay.
Big stuff.
Big shout out to them as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be seeing you here weekly for Beyond the Beats. Keep tuned in because announcements are coming on the Kickback RC505 edition for the wildcard winners. I'll hopefully see this man in there, and I wish you all the best of luck. There's also going to be more news and live streams coming up for Grand Beatbox Battle. So there's a lot of stuff happening, and I believe Zhang's showcase just came out today. So go and check that out as well on YouTube. And at the end of the day, call your friends, call your family, tell everybody that you love them. Make sure that you know that you're loved as well from your boy Scott Jackson. And keep those beatbox swords sharp. Keep on your practicing, and you never know. Maybe you'll get on a Grand Beatbox Battle one stage, or sitting here across from me and getting to talk on Swiss Beatbox. So thank you for tuning in. This is Scott Jackson. Big ups to KBA one more time. But that being said, we're out of time today, and I wish you guys to have a beautiful day. Morning, evening, night, afternoon, and that's time.